pause for a moment, my child. Do not hurry beyond what is unfolding right now, and do not promise yourself that you will come back later. Resist the urge to silence the stirring within your spirit, or explain it away, because you were meant to be here, and I desire for you to hear what I have placed on my heart for you today. This message did not cross your path by accident, nor did you arrive here through random chance. Heaven has marked this moment with purpose, and something deep within you already recognizes that truth, even while your mind struggles to accept it. Remain with me a little longer. Listen carefully, and let these words settle instead of rushing past them, because this interruption carries purpose. This is not a coincidence. I know what filled your thoughts before you arrived, what has weighed heavily on your heart, what you have quietly avoided, what you have continued to pray about, and even the hope you have almost laid aside. I did not stop you simply to occupy a moment of your day. I paused you because something significant is approaching in your life, and I want your heart to recognize it when the time comes. Readiness does not grow from trying to control every outcome or planning every detail. It grows from listening, and that is why I am speaking to you now. My child, the reason you feel drawn to remain here is because heaven itself has gently slowed your steps. Perhaps you feel unsettled, unusually attentive, or unable to explain why this moment feels different. That is because your spirit recognizes my voice before your mind fully understands what it is hearing. Do not ignore what I am saying to you now. Ignoring my voice will never silence it. It only delays what I am lovingly preparing you to receive. I am not calling your attention because I want you to live in fear. I am speaking because I love you too deeply to remain silent when the timing of your life matters. I do not interrupt a life without purpose, and I would not have drawn you here if this were an ordinary moment. I see the road that lies ahead of you. I see the decisions waiting just beyond where you stand, and I see changes quietly forming beneath the surface of your life long before they become visible to you. Because I take what you cannot yet see, I am speaking now. Something is already unfolding, even if your eyes cannot fully recognize it today. Because what I am doing often begins quietly before it can be clearly seen. Stay with me and do not rush away from my presence. Do not let distraction carry you past this moment. Do not dismiss what your heart is sensing. What I am about to reveal will change the way you understand what lies ahead. It will bring clarity where there has been uncertainty, steadiness where there has been instability, and understanding where questions have lingered. Yet you will receive it only if you remain here and listen. I know how easily life has trained you to keep moving, to stay occupied, and to guard your heart from stillness. But I am asking you to pause, because this kind of pause is not lost time. It is where your heart begins to come into alignment. You have carried questions without answers, burdens too heavy to release, and expectations you could never satisfy. Before those burdens shape your next step, I want to speak to you. You may wonder whether these are simply emotional words, or another message that will soon be forgotten. Instead of listening through old habits, listen with your spirit. Notice how something within you has become attentive, even if another part of you wants to turn away. That response is more than curiosity. It is recognition. You know my voice. You have heard it before in moments of conviction, in unexpected peace, in quiet comfort, and in times when I gently called you forward. You have not always followed immediately, but you have always recognized when I was near. I am not speaking to everyone in the same way. Many will hear these words and continue as they were, but you have remained, and that matters. Heaven does not waste moments like this. When I speak with urgency, it is because listening now will spare you from carrying what waiting would only make heavier. I am not trying to frighten you. I am caring for you. What is ahead is not come because you forced it or earned it through your own strength. It is approaching because the season has changed. I have been preparing you in ways you never noticed, strengthening you through disappointments you never would have chosen, and shaping your heart through seasons of waiting and perseverance. Soon you will understand why those experiences mattered. Do not convince yourself that you are unprepared. Readiness is never meant having every answer. It is always meant having a willing heart that listens and responds. Do not tell yourself that you are unworthy. Worthiness has never been the condition I asked of you. Willingness is. Do not assume there will always be another opportunity to decide, because tomorrow is uncertain while this moment is clear. If Christ is the unshakable foundation of your life, say, Amen. I have drawn your attention here because I desire to steady the path before you. I am speaking because silence would leave you less prepared, and I interrupted your day because I do not want you to continue carrying unnecessary unrest. This is not pressure. This is my guidance. This is not fear. This is my care. Stay with me a little longer. Let the noise around you become quiet. Let your breathing slow, and let your heart soften instead of remaining guarded. You do not need to understand everything today. You simply need to listen. I will lead you one step at a time, and I will walk with you through everything that follows. I will never call you forward and then leave you to continue alone. Treat this moment as something sacred. Do not hurry beyond it. Harden your heart against it, or persuade yourself to ignore what your spirit already recognizes as true. I am here with you. I am speaking to you, and what I am about to share will matter far more than you can fully understand right now. So today, remain and listen. Do not move on too quickly. Something significant is unfolding in your life, and this is where your understanding begins. Be still, my child. Let your steps slow, let your racing thoughts become quiet, and resist reaching for the next distraction that competes for your attention. I am speaking to you now, and this moment has been lovingly prepared by heaven with intention and care. You were never meant to rush past these words, glance over them, postpone them, or let them fade into the background of another busy day. What held your attention a moment ago can wait. What I desire to say to you cannot. This is far more than passing inspiration that stirs your emotions for a few moments before disappearing. This is my purpose meeting you exactly where you are. I know how restless your heart has been. I have watched your thoughts struggle to become still, and I have seen the quiet uneasiness that remained even when everything around you appeared calm. That restlessness is not a flaw within you. It is not weakness, and it is not meaningless anxiety. It has continued because it was never meant to be ignored or explained away. It has been drawing you toward this very moment. This interruption is not an accident. Heaven has gently stepped into your day and invited you to pause, because I know how easily constant movement keeps you from facing what your heart has been carrying. You have learned to stay busy, because stillness often reveals what you have been trying to hold together. Yet I am asking you to stop, because this pause is not taking something away from you. It is bringing your heart into alignment. It is my protection. It is my preparation. I am asking for only one thing from you today: your attention and your honesty before me. Let your thoughts become quieter and allow your spirit to listen. I am nearer than you realize. I speak with authority, not to overpower you, but to steady your heart. True authority does not always arrive with a loud voice. Sometimes it comes through unmistakable clarity, and clarity is exactly what you need in this moment. You have lived surrounded by noise. Different voices have pulled at your attention. Expectations have weighed on your shoulders, and unanswered questions have echoed through your mind. That is why I have interrupted the noise around you, because clarity cannot flourish in chaos. It needs room to breathe. It grows in stillness, and that is why this moment feels different. I have made space for my voice to reach your heart. Do not mistake my urgency for pressure. Pressure is driven by fear and demands performance. My urgency flows from love and calls you to pay attention. I am not asking you to fix everything today. I am simply asking you to let me speak into your life. There is a difference, and understanding that difference will shape how you receive everything that follows. You may feel tempted to move on, check something else, or convince yourself that you can return later because this moment feels weighty. That impulse is not wisdom, it is resistance, and resistance often hides beneath the appearance of busyness. Instead of running from this moment, remain with me. What you continue to avoid will still be waiting for you, often carrying more weight than before. What you choose to face with me will be met with grace. This moment has been arranged because continuing without hearing my voice would cost you more than stopping to listen. I see the road ahead of you. I see the choices beginning to take shape, and I see how close you are to changes you do not yet fully understand. Because I see what lies ahead, I step into this moment now. I intervene with purpose whenever awareness is needed, before action. If these words have encouraged you, and you would like to support this work of sharing messages that strengthen faith and devotion to God, you can do so through the support link or QR code provided in the description. Perhaps you wonder why these words feel so personal. It is because I am speaking to you, not simply addressing a crowd. I know your story. I know the questions you continue to carry. I know the prayers you still whisper and the prayers you quietly stopped praying because the waiting became too heavy. I know where you feel confident, and I know the places where uncertainty still lingers. Nothing about your life is hidden from me, and nothing about this moment is ordinary. I have interrupted your path because I desire to gently redirect you before uncertainty carries you farther than it should. Redirection is always easier before the road becomes longer. Correction becomes more difficult when it comes too late. This interruption is an expression of mercy, not rebuke. It is guidance born from love, not condemnation. I am not bringing every mistake before you. I am drawing your attention to what matters now. The restlessness you have been feeling has never been your enemy. It has been quietly telling you that you have outgrown something, that your heart can no longer remain where it once did, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Yet restlessness without direction eventually becomes frustration. That is why I'm speaking, to give direction to what you have been feeling, and to help you understand that the very thing unsettling you has also been preparing you. You have not been losing peace because something is wrong with you. You have been stirred because change is drawing near. Change requires awareness, and awareness often begins with an interruption. That is why I have asked you to stop today. Had I allowed you to continue at the same pace, you might have overlooked what has been quietly unfolding beneath the surface of your life. This is not the moment to analyze every detail. Understanding will come in its proper time. Right now is the time to receive. Let these words settle gently within you instead of trying to explain every part immediately. Allow your spirit to embrace what your mind may need more time to understand. Trust that clarity often arrives one step at a time. I know how accustomed you have become to carrying responsibility, making difficult decisions, and holding everything together. I am not taking those responsibilities away from you. I am simply asking you to pause long enough to receive my guidance, so that what you carry next will feel lighter and more aligned with my direction. You do not need to prove your strength in this moment. You only need to remain open. You cannot step into what lies ahead while distracted, exhausted, or unaware of what I am doing. I want you attentive. I want your heart listening. I want you ready, not because I demand perfection, but because readiness is what protects you. Do not tell yourself that you are unprepared to hear me. Readiness has never depended on confidence. It has always begun with a willing heart that chooses to stop and listen. You have already taken that step by remaining here, and it matters more than you realize. I am not asking you to decide everything today. I am asking you to stay present while I continue speaking. Decisions become clearer when they grow out of truth instead of pressure. So let truth settle deeply within you before you move forward. This moment is holy, not because it feels dramatic, but because it has been intentionally given to you. I am here with you. I have never left you to navigate your life alone. I am not watching from a distance. I am present, guiding you, speaking to you, and gently interrupting your path because I care deeply about where you are going. Remain still with me a little longer. Let the urgency you feel bring steadiness instead of fear, and let the seriousness of this moment anchor your heart instead of weighing it down. You are safe here. You are fully seen here, and even now I am preparing you for what lies ahead. This is why I asked you to stop. It was never to hold you back, but to protect you. It was never to slow your journey forever, but to gently realign your steps before you continued. This interruption was arranged by heaven, and it was arranged with you in mind. My child, your arrival here was never an accident. Nothing about this moment is random, misplaced, or too late. Hands you cannot see have been guiding your life far longer than you realize. Even in seasons when you felt lost, uncertain, or convinced you were simply drifting through one ordinary day after another, heaven was quietly directing your steps. I have led you in ways your eyes could not recognize, allowing some moments to slow, allowing others to unfold more quickly, so that you would arrive here with a heart ready to listen. Perhaps you believe you discovered these words on your own. The truth reaches even deeper than that. Before your eyes ever rested on this message, I already knew you. Before you sensed the desire to pause, I knew the exact moment your heart would be ready to hear my voice. Every delay, every pause, and every unexpected turn that brought you here served a purpose. None of it was wasted. It was all part of my careful guidance. I have never dragged you forward, nor have I forced your path. I have walked with patience, gently leading you while honoring your pace and keeping you close to my purpose. There were moments when you believed you had wandered too far, questioned your choices, or wondered whether you had missed your way completely. Hear this clearly now. You have never moved beyond my reach. You have never fallen so far behind that I could no longer see you. There has never been a step you have taken that caught me by surprise. I walked beside you in your confusion. I remained with you through every season of waiting. I stayed with you along the roads that seemed like unnecessary detours. My silence was never my absence. Even when you could not recognize my hand, I was still faithfully present beside you. Living inside my timing is not always easy. At times it feels slow, unfair, or difficult to understand. You watched others seem to move ahead while you wondered whether you had been left behind. You questioned whether you had waited too long or somehow missed what others appeared to receive so easily. But listen carefully now. You are not late. You are not behind. You have never been forgotten. Your journey is not measured against someone else's. It is shaped by readiness, and readiness grows quietly over time. I brought you to this moment because something within you has matured. You may not fully recognize it yet, but I do. Waiting has taught you patience. Uncertainty has cultivated humility. Disappointment has deepened your compassion. None of those seasons were meaningless. Each one has prepared your heart to recognize my voice with deeper trust rather than fleeting excitement. Had these words reached you sooner, you might have heard them without truly receiving them. Today, your heart is ready. Write amen if he renews your spirit day by day. There have also been protections you never saw. Doors you desperately wanted remained closed. Paths you hoped to follow suddenly came to an end. Relationships changed without explanation. At the time, they felt like rejection or loss, but they were also part of the way I was leading you here. I was protecting your heart from outcomes that would have drawn you away from me or hardened your spirit. I was preserving your ability to hear my voice when the right time arrived. You are not here because you happened to click on the right message. You are here because I gently guided your attention. I slowed your pace when you were rushing ahead. I unsettled your comfort when remaining there would no longer serve you. I stirred questions within you when easy answers could no longer satisfy your heart. The restlessness you experienced was never meaningless confusion. It was my guidance drawing you forward. Heaven does not work through chaos. Heaven moves with order, even when that order remains hidden from human eyes. Every season you have walked through has carried purpose. Waiting refined your character. Silence sharpened your ability to hear. Disappointment clarified what truly mattered. Delays quietly removed distractions. Together they prepared your heart to recognize truth when it finally stood before you. Perhaps you believed you were simply surviving, enduring one day after another, doing your best with what was placed before you. Yet beneath everything you could see, I was weaving together moments you did not yet understand, conversations that stayed with you, thoughts that kept returning, questions that refused to disappear. None of them were random. They were gentle invitations leading you toward greater clarity. Do not allow shame to convince you that you should already be somewhere else. Shame has never spoken with my voice. I do not measure your life by speed or comparison. I look at growth. I look at honesty. I look at a willing heart. And you have grown far more than you realize. You have become more discerning, more attentive, and more open than you once were. That is why you are here now. Heaven has never watched your life from a distance. I have been present in every detail. The timing of events, the doors that closed just before they could have harmed you, and the quiet blessings that came together without you forcing them. You never saw the entire picture, but I always did, and I am still guiding your steps today. You are not standing where you are by accident. You are here because my guidance has brought you here. That guidance does not always feel smooth. At times it looks like interruption. At times it feels like waiting or an unexpected pause. Yet it is always intentional, and that careful precision is what makes moments like this possible. Trust that nothing in your life has escaped my notice. Even the chapters you wish you could rewrite, the decisions you still regret, and the years you believe were lost, remain within my hands. I am able to redeem every part of your story, and I have been doing that faithfully all along. I have been doing this quietly all along. Even when you could not recognize my hand. My child, you have never been forgotten. Those who are forgotten do not find themselves drawn into moments like this. They do not recognize my voice stirring within them, and they do not arrive with hearts that are ready to listen. You are here because I remember you. I have seen you from the beginning, and your life carries significance beyond which you can fully understand today. This moment has arrived neither too early nor too late. It has come at the right time for you. Let that truth settle the anxious thoughts that keep telling you that you have fallen behind. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be for what I am doing now. Release the belief that your life has been drifting without direction. I have been guiding your steps, not always through easy paths or comfortable seasons, but always with faithfulness. This message is one more expression of that guidance. It is a reminder that you have never walked alone, that your steps have always been known to me, and that your presence in this moment matters. Remain open. Keep listening. Trust the path that has brought you here. Heaven has been involved in your story from the very beginning, and heaven remains at work today. You are here because this moment was meant for you, and because what lies ahead calls for the awareness you are beginning to receive. My child, I see everything you have been carrying, even the burdens you have never found words to describe. I have watched the weight grow little by little until it became part of the way you wake each morning, the way you breathe, and the way you move through each day. You learned to carry it quietly. You learned to smile while your heart was weary. You learned to keep going while a burden rested heavily within you. But do not mistake your ability to carry it as proof that it was ever yours to bear alone. I see the emotional weight you have carried for so long. I have seen disappointment build upon disappointment and hopes that you allowed yourself to embrace only to watch them quietly disappear without explanation. I know how carefully you tried to remain hopeful without becoming vulnerable to more hurt. You tried to keep believing while protecting your heart at the same time. That constant tension has exhausted you more deeply than you realized. You were not only tired because life disappointed you, you became weary from hoping so carefully. I also see the weight your mind has been carrying. I know the endless cycle of replaying conversations, revisiting decisions, and wondering whether you chose the wrong path, waited too long, or acted too soon. Even when your body finally rested, your thoughts often continued searching for answers. You tried to sleep while your mind remained awake. You tried to distract yourself, yet the same questions quietly followed wherever you went. You longed to stay present, but your heart kept being pulled between memories of the past and concerns about the future. I have seen the spiritual burden you carried, as well the burden of continuing to pray while answers seemed delayed, of continuing to trust while uncertainty remained, and of continuing to believe even when my silence was difficult to understand. You continued praying even after your words became few. You continued listening even when the silence seemed to linger. You continued coming before me even when you wondered whether anyone truly saw you. That kind of faith carries weight, not because it is weak, but because it refuses to let go. Perseverance always costs something when relief seems far away. I heard every quiet prayer you offered to me, including the ones that never became polished sentences. I heard the prayers that sounded more like weary sighs than carefully chosen words. I heard the prayers you whispered only in your heart because you no longer had the strength to speak them aloud. I even heard the prayers you stopped repeating because saying them again felt too painful. Not one of them escaped my attention. My silence was never my absence, and waiting was never my rejection. I see how deeply tired you have become. This is more than physical exhaustion. It is the weariness that comes from holding yourself together for so long that even rest seems unable to reach the deepest places of your heart. You slept when you could, but the burden remained because it rested far below what sleep alone could heal. You grew tired of always being strong. You grew tired of adapting, carrying responsibility, and continuing simply because others depended on you. At times it felt as though stopping would cause everything around you to fall apart. I also see how disappointment slowly changed the way you expected life to unfold. You lowered your expectations, not because you stopped caring, but because caring so deeply had become painful. You became cautious with your hope, careful with your trust, and quiet with your dreams. You called it wisdom because it helped you survive, but beneath it was a heart trying to protect itself from another wound. I understand why you did that. I do not condemn you for it. I saw every reason behind those choices. I also see the confusion you have carried. I know the questions that never seemed to find answers, and the moments when every direction felt uncertain. More than once you stood at a crossroads, sincerely longing to know which path would bring peace. You asked me for signs. You asked for clarity. You asked for reassurance. When the answers did not come as quickly as you hoped, you kept moving forward because you believed you had to. Yet uncertainty remained with you, even when you convinced yourself that you had accepted it. I have seen the waiting you endured, the waiting for change, for relief, for confirmation, for understanding, for something to finally shift. You watched life continue around you while others seemed to move ahead, and there were days when your own progress felt hidden from view. Waiting asks for patience, but long seasons of waiting require strength, and strength draws deeply from the heart. You have spent so much of yours simply holding on. I know there were moments when you questioned yourself. You wondered whether you were too sensitive, too emotional, too cautious, too slow, or somehow too much, and yet still not enough. Those thoughts were never born from truth. They grew from carrying burdens that were never meant to rest on your shoulders alone. When a heart carries too much in silence, it begins to lose perspective. That is why I want to help carry what has weighed you down, so you can begin to see again with greater clarity. I saw the moments when you cried with no one around to notice. I saw the tears you wiped away before anyone could ask why they were there. I saw the times you allowed yourself to break just long enough to catch your breath before gathering yourself together once more. You reminded yourself that others had greater struggles. You told yourself to be thankful. You told yourself to stay strong. Yet strength has never required silence, and gratitude has never erased the reality of pain. You were always allowed to bring your honest heart before me. I know how difficult it was to keep trusting me when your circumstances offered so little reassurance. I saw the questions you carried about whether I was listening, whether I cared, or whether your prayers still mattered. I never turned away from those questions. I remained with you through every one of them. Faith that asks questions is still faith. Faith that continues to wait is still faith. Faith that struggles has not died. It is still alive, still reaching, and still trusting, even when it feels weary. I also saw the responsibilities you accepted that were never yours to carry. You felt responsible for other people's emotions, their decisions, and outcomes that were always beyond your control. You tried to keep everything together, to preserve peace, and to make every situation work. Little by little, that burden bent your shoulders and drained your spirit. My child, you were never created to carry the weight of every life around you by yourself. I have also seen the way disappointment has changed how you move forward. It is not that you have lost courage. You have simply grown tired of being hurt. You became more careful where you once stepped forward with confidence. You hesitated where you once moved freely. That was never failure. It was weariness, and weariness deserves compassion far more than judgment. I know about the hopes you tucked away, because wanting less seems safer than risking another disappointment. I know the dreams you quietly laid aside and the desires you rarely speak about anymore. Even now there is still a quiet hope within you, though you sometimes tell yourself it has disappeared. Those hopes are not foolish. They are still alive, and I have never forgotten them. You do not have to explain any of this to me. I already know every layer of what you have carried. I was with you when you felt completely alone. I saw you when you believed no one noticed. I listened even when you thought your voice had become too quiet to be heard. There has never been a single moment when you were invisible to me. I am bringing these things into the light, not to overwhelm you, but to help you release them. A burden that is acknowledged can be shared. A weight that is brought into the light can begin to lift. You no longer have to hold everything together in my presence. You no longer have to pretend that you are doing fine. Here you are safe to be completely honest with me. I know exactly what you have been carrying, and I am telling you now that you no longer have to bear it by yourself. Take a slow breath. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Allow your heart to rest for a little while. You are seen. You are understood. And I am here, ready to carry what has become too heavy for you alone. Now, my child, I want you to hear me stand something that has puzzled you for a long time. The restlessness within you is not anxiety trying to destroy you. It is preparation urging you forward. There is an important difference, and recognizing it will change how you understand both yourself and this season of your life. Anxiety drains your strength without direction. Preparation stirs your heart with purpose. What you have been experiencing is not your spirit falling apart. It is your spirit responding to change. You have wondered whether this unrest meant something was wrong with you, whether you needed to suppress it, fix it, or simply learn to live with it. Hear me clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. Something within you is changing, and every season of change brings movement before it brings clarity. Your heart has felt restless because you have outgrown the season you have been living in. Growth rarely announces itself through comfort alone. More often it begins with discomfort. What once fit your life begins to feel too small. What once strengthened you no longer satisfies you. That is not failure. It is a sign that transition has begun. I know how sincerely you tried to remain where you were. You adjusted your expectations. You changed your routines. You reminded yourself to be patient, grateful, and content. For a while that seemed enough. Then something shifted deep within you. You could not fully explain it, but you could feel it. A quiet sense that remaining where you were was beginning to cost you more than moving forward ever would. That feeling was never meaningless. Anxiety. It was discernment taking shape within your heart. Your spirit is not restless because peace has abandoned you. It is restless because it recognizes that change is drawing near. Peace is not always found in standing still. Sometimes peace is found in trusting me as I lead you into what comes next. Your spirit has already begun to sense that it is time to move forward, even while your mind keeps trying to remain where everything feels familiar. That inner tension has a purpose. Discomfort is often the first language of transition. Before new doors begin to open, before understanding becomes clear, and before fresh ground comes into view, discomfort gently loosens your grip on what has become too small for the season ahead. If everything always felt comfortable, you would have little reason to take another step. Growth would remain still, and purpose would never move beyond where it began. That is why discomfort is not your enemy. It is a signal calling your attention to what is changing. You have outgrown ways of thinking that once protected you. You have outgrown patterns that once gave you security. You have even outgrown places and seasons that faithfully taught you what you needed to learn. Outgrowing them does not mean they were wrong. It simply means they were meant for a particular season. Every season has its purpose, but no season is meant to last forever. The restlessness you have felt has been your spirit quietly telling you, this is no longer enough. That does not mean you have become ungrateful. It means I have been preparing your heart for what comes next, preparing you for deeper alignment, greater responsibility, clearer understanding, and a fuller life within the path I am leading you to walk. Remaining where you are might seem easier today, but it would carry a greater cost tomorrow. Deep within you, your spirit already recognizes this truth, even when your mind continues to question it. If you trust God's power beyond what your eyes can see, type Amen. And if this message has spoken to your heart, share this video with someone who may need this encouragement today.